You are Locked On Warriors POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Warriors POSTCAST. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR. And tonight, the Golden State Warriors overcame a very physical game from the Houston Rockets to win 109-106 and take a commanding 3-1 lead in this first round series. Jimmy Butler's return was hugely beneficial for the Warriors, but it was Brandin Podziemski who shined brightest tonight, in my opinion, as he had 26 points for the Dubs. Buddy Hield also had a great second half. And down the stretch, man, Draymond Green making a huge play on Alperen Sengun. Don't try that, man. Just do not try that, man. He was predictably also at the center of all the chippy play, but really managed his 5 fouls masterfully in that fourth quarter. We'll break it all down, but first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Please, if you aren't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Warriors podcast feed. Make sure to check out the Locked On Warriors Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. And I mean, the chippiness in this guy, just to a next level. This whole series has been pretty damn chippy. The Houston Rockets, they know that they can't win this series based on skill. That's obvious. Their only shot at winning this series is by rage baiting Draymond Green and by rage baiting Stephen Curry into doing dumb stuff. And that's basically what you saw in that first half. Warriors enter halftime down 7, and I think a lot of it was because they were falling for the Dylan Brooks just buffoonery that's going on out there. Stepped up in that second quarter, the chippiness did, after Steph gets cheap shotted by Brooks, hits the deck hard. Draymond, of course, was involved in this too. He initially set the wipeout screen on Thompson during the play, and Steph stepped around the screen and Dylan Brooks just levels him, just throws the hip right into Steph, and they call the foul on Brooks. Steph, when he hits the ground, holds up 2 fingers at Dylan Brooks, saying, "We got 2 on you, buddy. We're counting." And Brooks then reaches in, tries to take the dead ball away from Steph. They get all mixed up. Draymond, of course, gets in the middle of it too. And all 3 players get technical fouls at the end of this one. And that, if Steph's getting a technical, you know that you've ignited something in this Warriors team and in Stephen Curry, and that's very hard to do. But Dylan Brooks seems to be able to be the guy to do it for the Warriors, man. Doesn't matter what team he plays for, the Grizzlies or the Rockets, wherever this guy goes, the Warriors hate him, and so do I, man. I absolutely despise this man. Might be my least favorite player in all of sports, not just basketball. This guy is just a clown out there. Basketball skill. I mean, he's a decent shooter, but like the 90% of this guy's game is just like intentionally trying to be a heel, and he just looks like a clown 90% of the time while he's trying to do it. Then later in that second quarter, Draymond and Tari Eason get tangled up. Draymond kind of hits him in the head with his leg. Up for debate whether or not Draymond meant to do that. Eason gets a tech. Draymond gets a flagrant. So you have all sorts of technical fouls and flagrant fouls flying all over the place at Chase Center in that second quarter. But what really stood out to me about that second quarter happened with about 2:20 left before halftime, and that's what leads me to today's turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
And when you're a team that makes their identity after guys like Dylan Brooks and Ime Udoka and this fake tough guy persona, you're going to live by that and you're going to die by that. And tonight, the Houston Rockets died by that persona. Dylan Brooks starts jawing at the wrong guy. He and Jimmy Butler, of all people that you want to go and rile up and try and dig into and get under their skin, Jimmy's not the one, man. And so Dylan Brooks and Jimmy start drawing at each other with about 2:20 left in that second quarter. And you can read Jimmy's lips, and it's not hard. It's very clear. He calls him a bum and another B word that I can't say on this show. In postgame, Jimmy was asked how he turned it on in the second half, and he said, quote, "Someone said something to me." So Jimmy was clearly referencing this interaction with Dylan Brooks. And again, with about like 30 seconds left before halftime, Dylan Brooks is on a little bit of a fast break and going to get an easy layup. Jimmy Butler says, you're going to earn those points, buddy. Fouls him hard, sends him down into the ground and into the crowd. I'm kind of surprised that there wasn't something more called on that play, but Jimmy did a good job of actually going for the ball and just hitting the hell out of Dylan Brooks' arm. Like, he tried to make a play on the ball, realized he wasn't going to get there, and said, nothing easy. Nothing easy. He took a page out of Zaza Pachulia's book. Nothing easy. Then in that third quarter, the Warriors were inspired. 18-1 run out of the half for the Warriors. And this came despite Draymond picking up his fifth foul in the midst of it with about 8 minutes to play in that third quarter. So the Warriors were without Draymond for almost a full quarter's worth of time, because he did not come back into this game until about 7-ish minutes left in that fourth quarter. And which, by the way, Draymond just navigating that fourth quarter with his 5 fouls absolutely masterfully, making the clutch closing minute defensive play on Şengün to stifle the Rockets' last chance at tying this one up or winning this one. Fred VanVleet had a prayer at the end, but that was a prayer, not a legitimate chance to tie this game. It got absolutely nothing, didn't even get the rim on that shot, so I'm not even counting that as a legitimate scoring opportunity for the Rockets. It would have been a miracle if that shot went in. But, man, you saw Draymond right after that play run over to the camera, look dead into the camera and say, no, not me. Don't be trying, Draymond Green, at the very end of games when it's all on the line. And this is exactly why this guy should have won Defensive Player of the Year. He showed you why. 2 games in a row, Draymond did, why he's the best defender in the National Basketball Association. I mean, it is not up for debate, in my opinion. Mobley had a great year. No one does it like Draymond does. Absolutely nobody. And the stat line maybe doesn't reflect that tonight. Draymond's box score, I mean, he only had he didn't have a single block or a steal recorded in tonight's game, but he impacted this game in a massive way on the defensive end. But offensively, the Warriors weren't going to get another 30-plus game from Steph tonight. Steph did finish with 17 points, only 2 of 8 from 3. But you know who picked him up? Brandin Podziemski, 26 points from Pods. And we got to go ahead and give Pods our player of the game for tonight.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
And Brandin Podziemski, I mean, absolutely blew me out of the water tonight. 40 minutes from Brandin Podziemski, 9 of 18 from the field, 26 points, and 6 of 11 from downtown. This guy was doing everything. He had 5 rebounds, he had 5 assists, he had a couple steals, he had a block. Brandin Podziemski was everywhere. He even had he had 4 offensive boards. I mean, this guy was doing so much work for the Golden State Warriors tonight. I'm shocked by the level up that he made. Obviously, he was sick in their last game that he played, where he had 0 points and played 12 minutes. But tonight, man, Brandin Podziemski, for him to come back from that illness, put in 40 minutes of work and 26 points. He was leading the Warriors in scoring for the majority of this one until Jimmy Butler took over that fourth quarter. And I mean, it was playoff Jimmy in full force tonight. Didn't matter what was hurting on his body. He said, Warriors in 5, baby. And I do fully expect Warriors in 5. Houston is not winning another game in this series. The Warriors have all the momentum. That's about it. That's about it. And I do want to say there was one other big moment in this one down the stretch where Steven Adams was playing a just monster game on the inside for the Rockets. He was blocking everything. He had 4 blocks in this one and was changing all the shots inside the paint, getting a lot of rebounds for the Rockets. They really dominated that paint. Steven Adams had 5 offensive rebounds tonight. So the Rockets were really just bullying the Warriors inside. And Steve Kerr, for all the people who want to say Steve Kerr does not know how to coach basketball and all this nonsense, and that he's just riding Steph Curry's coattails, I want you to look at Steve Kerr and what he did with the Hack-a-Adams, Hack-a-Kiwi, whatever you want to call it. Took the Hack-a-Shack and applied it to Steven Adams in this game. And it was a great strategy because it got Steven Adams out of the game. It allowed the Warriors to continue to push inside. It allowed Jimmy to start getting some more opportunities in the paint and getting to the foul line and all that kind of stuff. And that doesn't happen if Steven Adams stays in the game. He was wrecking the Warriors' offensive game plan in that fourth quarter. And Steve Kerr took him out of that game with the Hack-a-Adams strategy. And the Rockets, I mean, it's clear why the Warriors were doing this. The Rockets were 19 of 31 from the charity stripe tonight, just 61% on their free throws. So they didn't want to keep going to the free throw line. And the Warriors did a great job of making the Rockets do what they didn't want to do. In the second half, the Warriors forced the Rockets to play their game. And that was the big difference in this one, because the Warriors stopped playing into that nonsense. They stopped playing into Dylan Brooks's rage baiting, and they started playing Warriors basketball, sharing the ball, playing hard, getting to the free throw line, and role players started knocking down shots. We got a lot more to get into on today's show. We got to get into what you'll be talking about after this game, which I think you guys already know what that is. That's all coming up next on the Locked On Warriors postcast. Today's show is sponsored by PrizePicks. Basketball and hockey playoffs are here. There's no better time to turn your sports knowledge into real cash with PrizePicks, the top destination for daily fantasy action. PrizePicks makes it simple. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections and you're in. You can even mix and match players across basketball, hockey, baseball, and more for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. I mean, today I had a lineup. It wasn't very good. I'm not going to read it off to you guys tonight because we didn't really come close. It involved Draymond Green getting more than 3.5 steals, Steph getting more than 30 points. So we missed on a lot of things tonight. But we'll be back at it for Game 5 in Houston. I'm already thinking of what we can cook up for that. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA and get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. And today's show is also sponsored by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel, place your first $5 bet, you get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I love how FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking my favorite team or diving into player props. From 3-pointers to steals to assists, FanDuel has so many ways to bet on your favorite players. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, take the Warriors money line for Game 5. I haven't looked at what early spreads are for that. I frankly don't care. Take Warriors money line. If the Warriors are getting points, then absolutely take the spread too. The Warriors are going to win Game 5 in Houston. You can bet on that on FanDuel.com. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. Welcome back to the Locked On Warriors postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. And tonight, the Warriors take a commanding 3-1 lead after beating the Rockets at Chase Center. There was no way the Warriors were going to lose a game at Chase Center in this series. And if somehow magically it gets back to Chase Center, which it won't, the Warriors aren't losing that game either. I think that it's a clear punch your ticket, move on. Of course, you can't count the chickens before they hatch. But when you take a 3-1 lead in a series like this, against a team that can't shoot, that can't score, that has no plan on offense at all, I think it's safe to say the Warriors are winning this series, which leads me to what you'll be talking about after this one.
This is what you'll be talking about.
And what you'll be talking about is let's all do it together. Let's collectively wave goodbye to the Houston Rockets. Bye-bye. See ya. Have fun in Cancun. You can start looking up prices right now. I did Dylan Brooks a favor. I started looking up flights I'm assuming he'll probably get, business plus or something like. He's not going to be flying economy. Maybe he'll be flying first class, but for business plus, you can get a ticket for about $1,000 a round trip for a flight from Houston on May 1st. Down to Cancun, which is exactly when the Rockets should be booking those flights for, because they're not winning Game 5. No chance are the Rockets, zero chance that the Rockets win this series. Absolutely none. And I think the Warriors get it done in 5. And that's what it's always been from the start of this series. The Rockets want to try and pretend like the Warriors don't have their number, want to try and pretend like the Warriors haven't owned them for the last decade in their house. And the Rockets, they have not been able to beat Steph Curry in a playoff series ever. And it's not starting now. It's game over for this Houston Rockets team. And I just want to mention Jalen Green, of all people, Jalen Green, to go and run his mouth after scoring 9 points in Game 3 and saying that Draymond Green can't do anything but talk. I want Jalen Green to go and play back the tape of that final Houston Rockets possession where Draymond absolutely shut down Alperen Sengun, stifled that game winner or the would-be game-tying shot, And by the way, Jalen Green, what have you been doing, buddy? 8 points again tonight. Guess who got the triple single the last 2 games? Not Draymond Green, baby. It was Jalen Green. So Draymond tonight, he only had 1 point less than Jalen Green, or 2 points less than Jalen Green did. So I think that Jalen Green needs to stop worrying about his painted nails and stop worrying about what Draymond's saying out there, and probably needs to figure out how to score the basketball for his own damn team. The Warriors, they're clearly getting under the Rockets' skin just as much as a guy like Dylan Brooks gets under all of the Warriors' skins. Draymond Green is just a brain worm that's wiggled his way inside each and every one of these Houston Rockets players' heads, and it's game over at that point. They're playing a different game. They're just trying to rage bait, and that's all that's their only game plan. And if the Warriors can keep their heads about them, play their game, they're going to win in Houston. Now, I don't expect Brandin Podziemski to have 26 points in Houston. I don't expect Buddy Hield to have the second half that he had. Buddy Hield, by the way, what a monster second half for him. After really not playing very well in the first half, he was 0 for 4 from 3 in that first half. Well, he goes 3 for 5 from 3 in the second half. And those three 3-pointers that he made were, monster. Each and every bucket was huge for Buddy Hield down the stretch. He also had a great lob to Jimmy Butler late in this one. And wow, I'm just absolutely shocked that when we needed a good Buddy Hield game, we got one, man. It's been a season long of ups and downs with Buddy Hield, but tonight we got great Buddy Hield minutes, and I'm so happy that he delivered. Steve Kerr started him tonight over Moses Moody, and that was a big deal because Moody has been so consistent defensively, has not been great offensively lately, and Moody was not good again on the offensive end of the floor tonight. But I really liked what I saw from Buddy Hield when he got his chance. You don't got to get ready if you stay ready, and today Buddy Hield stayed ready. I also want to point out, before we get on out of here, Quentin Post, I just want to appreciate this guy because he, again, is just battling every single possession. Tried to end Steven Adams' life tonight with a monster, what would have been a monster slam if Adams didn't foul him. And Post finishes with 13 points. Every single one of those mix-ups, Quentin Post is sticking his nose right in the middle of there. He's all about any amount of physicality. It's not too much for Quentin Post. And that is something that the Warriors have really lacked outside of Draymond Green and I guess Kevon Looney too, but he's so like mellow and even keeled. Quentin Post is fiery, man. I love me this fiery Dutchman who just is not afraid of anybody in this league. He does not care who's lining up across from him. He's looking to catch a body, and that's something so refreshing to see on this Warriors team, to have a 7-footer with that kind of mentality, and he's able to shoot threes. Like I am absolutely fawning over Quentin Post and what he has brought to this Warriors team. I'm just shocked that they found yet another second-round steal. And I'm not saying he's going to turn out to be the same kind of thing that Draymond Green has been, but Quentin Post, man, this guy is the real deal. And I think that we need to maybe change the narrative about the Warriors like desperately needing another 7-footer. It would be nice, don't get me wrong, but they got themselves a legitimate bona fide 7-foot center to run with for the next couple of years. As long as Quentin Post is a Warrior, I do expect him to play a larger role as these playoffs go on. He has not shrunk in these big moments at all. And it's been great to watch him just come into form in this postseason and in the second half of this NBA season. So the Warriors play phenomenal tonight. And by the way, we haven't talked nearly enough about Jimmy Butler. Before we get on out of here, Jimmy Butler led the way with 27 points, scored 14 of them in the fourth quarter. Jimmy completely took this game over. Playoff Jimmy came out in full force. He played 40 minutes in his return from injury. What more do you want from the guy? This is why Mike Dunleavy pulled the trigger on that trade. This is why it's so important to maximize what's going on around Jimmy Butler. And Buddy Hield and Brandin Podziemski, by the way, don't have games like they had without what Jimmy Butler was doing, because the gravity that Jimmy Butler pulls onto him, kind of like Steph does, you have to figure out which shooter you're going to leave. And obviously they're not going to leave Steph. So you have to help off of either Buddy Hield or Brandin Podziemski. And tonight it hurt the Rockets every single time that they helped off of one of those guys in the second half. That doesn't happen without Jimmy Butler doing what he does. And Jimmy Butler, again, Dylan Brooks, how dumb can you be? Don't poke the bear. How stupid can you be going and aggravating Jimmy Butler just before halftime for him to just come out and absolutely torch you in the second half. I'm here for it. I'm so glad that we got to watch this game. This was a very, very, very entertaining basketball game, especially in the second half once we got over all that nonsense in the first half. So Warriors, big win, 3-1 lead over the Houston Rockets. And as I said, it's Warriors in 5. Put your money on it on FanDuel right now. It's all the time that we got for you guys today. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be coming to you live at the end of Game 5 and very likely the end of this series on Wednesday. And we'll have a special guest. We'll be joined by none other than one of my favorite dudes in the entire world, Paulie McCaffrey of Polymax Particles and formerly of the Murph and Mac Show when I was still working at KMBR with him. He'll be joining us to what I'm predicting is going to be a celebratory show on Wednesday. So don't miss that. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Peace.